try to make sure that doesn't blow up.
It definitely sounds like protesters that are making the commotion behind Noem also note that they've set up the news conference so that you can't see anything behind her. It was short-lived for Kristi Noem, who was immediately booed in front of the public today. Kristi Noem, nobody likes you. Nobody likes you at all. Your stunts are stupid, your hats are bad, your photo ops fail, and that is what we saw today.
Kristi Noem completely lost control after getting humiliated during a live protest in Minneapolis. And the reason is, quite frankly, it's simple. She walked into a city expecting a victory moment about border security and drug seizures, but instead she ran straight into loud boos, blaring sirens, and a crowd that was not impressed. The tough, unshaken image that she tries to project, it cracked on camera, and the internet made sure that everyone saw it happen in real time.
Safely, and that we are interdicting drugs like you see in front of you here today and getting them off of our streets so that they don't poison our next generation of Americans.
She steps up to the mic, tries to adjust her papers, and you can hear it in the background. Sirens, shouting, booing, not a small group either. It was loud enough that the reporters noticed it immediately. The camera angle was carefully set so you could not see what was behind her. Why hide the background if everything is doing great? If people love you, you show the crowd. You do not just simply crop them out.
Because she had to just sit there and take it. But as the boos rained down, as the alarms interrupted her, she just couldn't take it anymore. She kind of lashed out. She pretended it wasn't getting under her skin. But we've seen Kristi Noem in enough bad commercials to know she's not a good actor.
Well, they're obviously expressing their First Amendment rights, and we welcome that. As long as they do so peacefully, I think it's a wonderful thing. Yes.
The internet did not miss that. Clips started circulating within a minute. Protesters chanting while she tried to power through her talking points. This is the same Kristi Noem who talks about strength and control. Now, she is pretending that the noise behind her is just a normal day. She says people are expressing their First Amendment rights and calls all of it a wonderful thing. Wonderful. The word wonderful. You looked like you wanted to leave, Kristi.
Well, listen, I'll never give you details or give you an explanation on law enforcement activities. I don't want to put our law enforcement officers at risk by exposing some of the planned operations that they may or may not have.
And why were they even protesting her? It does not come out of nowhere. Just days earlier, a Senate hearing blew up over the Rene Good shooting. A lawmaker pressed ICE officials about an agent holding a personal phone in one hand and a weapon in the other. Think about that for a second. A weapon in one hand, a phone in the other. What kind of training is that?
Is that if you have your phone out as an ICE officer, you are not an ICE officer. You are a coward. You are trying to cause chaos. You are not law enforcement, not to say that they were from the beginning, that these people are just thugs and goons and losers.
The official admitted there was no formal training telling agents to record with personal phones while handling weapons. None. That moment was serious. It raised questions about professionalism and escalation. Minneapolis already carries heavy scars from law enforcement controversies. Then this clip hits the news cycle, and Kristi Noem walks into town acting like everything is under control. People were not going to stay quiet.
And I'll tell you, as far as the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and CBP, is targeted operations, going after specific individuals that are a threat to public safety. Individuals that have committed crimes either here or in another country that are dangerous to stay out on our streets.
Now she keeps using the phrase targeted operations. Targeted at who? According to her, only criminals, only threats, only dangerous people. But when agents are recording on phones while holding guns, that does not inspire confidence. It sounds chaotic. It looks reckless. And then she wonders why crowds show up angry.
We don't want more victims in this country. We want to make sure that those criminals are removed from our streets and that we're returning them back home to their home countries when they're brought to justice. So beyond that, those targeted operations, we won't talk about the details of.
Now let's talk about her big numbers, because she loves the big numbers, clearly. She claims a 93% drop in southern border apprehensions compared to the previous administration. She says fentanyl flow is down 56%. She stands in front of a vault holding 188,218 pounds of seized drugs. She says there are 1.7 billion lethal doses in the vault. That sounds pretty dramatic. That sounds powerful.
Of seized illicit drugs. That inventory includes over 100,000 pounds of meth, 59,000 pounds of cocaine, and 7,400 pounds of fentanyl. In other words, that vault holds more than 1.7 billion lethal doses.
But here is what I keep thinking. If everything is so secure and so successful, why is the public energy so tense? Why are officers facing a 1,300% increase in assaults, a 3,200% increase in vehicular attacks, and an 8,000% increase in death threats? According to her own numbers, that does not sound like a calm, confident system. That sounds pretty much like a country that is under stress.
So the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, posted this on social media late last year, swears included. She posted, quote, "I am recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. We don't want them, not one."
She says border apprehensions are 93% lower. She says for 9 straight months, 0 illegal aliens were released. She says this is the most secure border in American history. That's a pretty bold claim. The most secure ever is what she said. In American history. That is not a small statement. That is the kind of line that you say when you are trying to convince people that everything is perfect. But clearly, it's not.
Again, journalist Aaron Rupar chimed in, mocking Noem. "Please don't put in the newspaper that I got mad," joking that Kristi is trying to say, it's fine, I'm not angry. Who cares? It doesn't even matter." She's just so triggered. She's so easily upset.
Then she ties it to President Trump. She praises him for cutting off trafficking and designating cartels as terrorist organizations. She talks about enough fentanyl to kill 10 million Americans sitting in a bin in front of her. She says they are winning. Winning everywhere. Winning at the border. Winning against drugs. Winning against the criminals. That is the message.
Donald Trump covers up for pedos, he covers up for his crumbling economy, and he covers up when Kristi Noem gets booed. But it didn't stop there, because she had to just sit there and take it.
So, explain something to me. If you are winning on every front, why are you getting booed out of Minneapolis? Why are sirens drowning out your press conference? Why are viral clips showing you visibly irritated while pretending that you are calm? You cannot brag about total control and then look rattled by a crowd of protesters.
Because not only did she get booed and yelled at, and sirens blared during her press conference, but she had to play it off like she didn't care.
And this is where it becomes political reality. Minneapolis is not just some random town. It has been a flashpoint for years. Law enforcement actions over there are not viewed through a neutral lens. So when Noem arrives talking about more enforcement, more ICE partnerships, more 287 agreements, she should expect pushback. Instead, she seems shocked that people are not clapping.
We're winning the fight against fentanyl. Now, President Trump has called the cartels the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere, and he's right. The cartels traffic, they torture, they behead human beings, and they enrich themselves and profit off of American deaths.
At some point, leaders have to read the room. You cannot just repeat statistics and expect applause. You cannot shout about billions of lethal doses and expect people to ignore what they see in their own communities with their own eyes. The protest was not just noise. It was a reaction to a broader tension building for months.
Kristi's not in the full, clear, all good. I would say that even, the farther that we get removed from the murders in Minneapolis, the better chance Noem has to be fired. Because if Donald Trump does it too soon, it looks like he's being reactionary, which is the thing he dreads the most.
And if you're still watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button because this story is not going away. So, after Minneapolis embarrassed her on camera, what does Kristi Noem do? She doubles down. She shifts the focus to sanctuary states and starts throwing out numbers, like she is reading from a scoreboard. 33,000 ICE detainers in California jail. That is what she says. 33,000 people who, according to her, committed crimes and should be handed over to federal agents before they walk free.
Governor Newsom and California's sanctuary policies have released over 4,500 criminal illegal aliens back onto the streets to create more victims and that will harm more Americans.
Then we circle back to Minneapolis and protests. When asked about demonstrators, she says people are expressing their First Amendment rights and calls it a wonderful thing as long as it's peaceful. That specific line is meant to sound calm and confident. It is meant to project control, but it came right after she was drowned out by sirens and also boos.
The audience of one that she plays to, and still she has failed at that job. It is magnificent the ways that she has let down Donald Trump, and good. I'm glad that she's bad at her job.
Kristi Noem walked into Minneapolis thinking that she was delivering a victory speech about border security and drug seizures. Instead, she walked into a political earthquake. She responded with talking points and statistics. The crowd responded with sirens and also chants. And now the country has a viral moment that captures the gap between official messaging and public mood.
To me, it was a disgusting display about everything broken in this country.
This is not about one press conference. This is about trust. She says everything is under control. She says the numbers prove success. She says protests are wonderful. Minneapolis just showed her that slogans do not silence the anger. The humiliation was not just noise in the background, it was a warning that the debate over enforcement is far from settled.